Hey, what's up, good people? How you doing? Welcome back to Stock Up with Larry Jones. Do yourself a favor and come hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell. As you can see, this is Studio C, and it is a beautiful, sunny Sunday here in the Midwest, all right? Hopefully you're having beautiful weather too where you are in this bipolar weather. We're going to just talk about a few things. I am going to talk about stocks, but I haven't really talked about crypto in a minute. But I just been consistent with my message as it pertains to crypto and stock. Pretty much with the stock market, let me just get that out of the way, and then I'm going to just really quickly go into crypto. Stock market, you guys know what's going on with that, right? As a matter of fact, there's some things that's happening right now that has been a back and forth. You know, is the U.S. talking to China or not? Is you is or is you ain't my baby? For those of you that are older, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, all right, he made a statement, and his statement was, quote, "There is a path," unquote, all right, with China. Overall tariff negotiations, said Scott Bessent, and this was something he was questioned on here recently, and he also stated that he had interactions with his Chinese counterpart. So Scott Bessent, which is our Treasury Secretary, he had interactions with his Chinese counterpart, meaning their Treasury Secretary or Minister of Treasury. You know, they have different names, but they serve the same purpose. So he's saying that they talked over the weekend. Now, me personally, I think that may be even better. You know the term cooler heads prevail. And I think that that's a good message. I think that's a good step, that cooler heads are actually having this conversation. Sometimes you don't need the big chiefs from both camps to be making these negotiations. You need somebody else, an outside perspective. I respect that. I like that. And maybe there could be some sort of agreement, and then they both go back to their presidents, right? And state, look, this is the best thing. They both know that this is not good for both countries. It's not. And, you know, last week you had, you know, the CEOs like Walmart, those type of stores, all of the big box stores, the CEOs, they went to the White House, and they were warning of empty shelves because of the tariffs. Okay. And the president don't want that, you know, and you love him or hate him. He just don't want that. It's just not good. But we got to look at the overall economy. Now, it's been tanking. The market's been tanking. I already know what some of the comments are going to be. My question is, if you're so passionate about who's right and who's wrong, what is your passion about finding where the opportunity is, and then you being right, in meaning that you invested at the right time? That's the passion I want to concentrate on, because, you know, we could spend all day with this back and forth, who's right, who's wrong. But at the end of the day, are you prospering? Because they are. And so what I'm going to say to you is in all thy getting, get an understanding, a full understanding of what's going on, and then prosper that way. So what I did before I made this video, and there's a lot more I may touch back on stocks. I looked at crypto, and I just looked for any crypto news. And the one thing that just kept coming up was this report. According to Crypto Rover, the U.S. SEC has officially approved FitShare, I believe it is. I had my wife write this up. I believe it's FitShares. It's a trust, or should I say FitShares Trust, XRP ETF for public launch on April 30th, 2025. So it's going to be a new trust, XRP trust, all right? It's an ETF for approval, launch on April 30th. I want you to Google it and read the entire thing for yourself. I got a few more notes. The regulatory breakthrough is expected to significantly increase XRP's institutional adoption and trading volume. Okay, so now That doesn't mean it's going to happen just because they say that, but that's something to look at. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some of my crypto portfolios, okay? So you guys know, and I've just been clear, some people are not following. I had stop losses set and they all triggered, okay? The only thing that didn't trigger it is my big purchases, my early purchases of Bitcoin. And they all triggered and they went into sales and I sold. But when I was telling you guys that I was buying back in, when Bitcoin goes back down to 74, I actually said from 76 down to 74, okay, that was my buying range. Please leave a coffee cup if you remember me saying that, right? And I don't repeat that every day. I say it, I do it. And so I'm going to show you a few of my positions that I took last night. So I took these last night. Don't know where it is right now. I took these last night. These are a few of the positions that I've been dollar cost averaging back into. Now, this is not all of the Bitcoin I own by far. I've become a Bitcoin maximalist, but the only thing I'm actually flat on, a little down on, is XRP. And so you could see in some of my portfolios that I'm actually up dollar cost averaging. So Larry, what are you going to do as this phone gets hot? All right, I'm trying to keep it cool. Hold on a second. I don't want it to cut off. All right, so excuse me for it being so close, but the phone is getting black because it's getting hot. All right, so what are you doing, Larry? What I'm doing is, and I'm going to say something, and this is my plan now because it changes. Because Bitcoin has been held down so long, because of the damage that these tariff wars have done to the stock market and crypto, here's where I am. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, some of you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but I'm just telling you what Larry is doing with Larry's money. Okay. I'm going to turn this phone the other way. I'm going to tell you what Larry is doing with Larry's money, because Larry is not telling you to buy, sell, or hold. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see this. All right, this phone is getting hot. But here's what Larry is doing with his crypto. If Bitcoin pushes above 110 to 112, really my bull point is 110. Because at 110, what's going to happen, Larry? Those of you that didn't DCA are going to come running back to crypto, and you're going to start buying at 110, and that's going to push it up. So what Larry is going to do with the altcoins you just saw, and as you can see, I got back into bunk, just dollar cost averaging. And then when it dumped, I put a little piece of change in there. Okay. Now remember, I've made a lot of money off of swing trading crypto. And I made a lot of money off of holding that last time, and it had ran up. And then when things start to fall apart, I put stop losses on everything. This is what Larry chose to do with his crypto. Okay. So I understand going in long like I've done with my Bitcoin. But here's what I'm going to do. As it stands right now, if Bitcoin pushes above 110, whatever the pump is right behind that, I am setting stop losses in everything. Okay? I'm setting stop losses in everything. And I don't care how far it goes above that. So I'm going to set some stop losses. So if it keeps going up, I'm going to keep moving my stop losses up. I'm talking crypto. This is what Larry is doing. Why? I've made enough money. I'm limiting my risk. I'm not trying to get rich or trying to lose all of my money by trying to guess the top. And because crypto has been held back so long, I just believe that it's just lowering how high it could have went. You know, just 2 months ago, I was still in the beliefs that Bitcoin could hit 130, and it still could, depending on what happens with the rest of the market. As you see, stock market goes down, crypto goes down. But if it hits 110 and stalls there, that's just, I just think that, you know, I don't know what the future is, but I'm just telling you right now, boldly telling you what I'm going to do. And if it keeps going beyond that, I'm going to be rejoicing for those of you that stayed in. And I know some of you guys go, why would you do that? Well, I've made a lot of money. And before you say, why would you do that? I want you to understand how much money I made already. So I don't have to assume the same amount of risk is what I'm saying. But like I said, once Bitcoin hits above 110, if it does, and it still has room to, of course, then there's going to be a lot of influx of money coming in. And whatever it gets pushed up beyond that, if it has a bounce right behind that, which it will, that's when I'm setting my stop losses. Okay. And if there's a cool down from there, then I'm going to assess it then. But right now, that's what my plan is for all of my crypto. Now, the Bitcoin that I bought at 18, 20, and 24, I have that somewhere else. Okay. And I also have another crypto portfolio. And I have some other minor crypto in that. But for the most part, my risk is out. And then I am going to take all of my winnings from all of my crypto and kind of wait and see where distribution or markdown, well, I think is going down to a good price. And that may be at the end of the year, it may be 2026. And I'm going to start accumulating again. Bitcoin. Okay? Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. That's what my plan is. You let me know what yours is. All right. Remember, our plans don't have to match. Everybody's plan is not the same. Just let me know what yours is as it pertains to crypto. But that's mine. But as it pertains to the stock market, if there's any positive news between China and America, market is going to continue on what it did with last week. Now, it may not come back to the top that it was. Remember, the stock market was expensive, right? It was too high. And there was some correction that needed to happen, right? So we got earnings, more big tech earnings is coming in. Alphabet killed it, right? Alphabet absolutely smashed it, okay? Tesla didn't, and Tesla still went up. But let's see what this week holds. If there is any kind of positive talk between the US and China, we could continue on this upward rally. Okay. Now, at this point, I know those of you that have the $5 a day challenge and whatever, $10 a day, whatever yours is, your dollar cost average, I'm telling you, as shaky as things are, and I'm thanking God every time I get to a higher level, I'm setting stop losses. And if they trigger, then I'm just going to keep all of that cash and see how low we could get it. Remember, 200-day moving average, I keep my eye on it, right? But I'm not setting my stop loss super tight either. And the truth be told, what I'm doing with all of the cash, and I just shared with you, that portfolio, by the way, that I've been sharing with you is a portfolio that I really just got into during this tariff war, okay? But all I'm trying to do is, instead of freaking out when the market goes down, which I've been accused of, all right, which I've done, focusing on how far can it go down and how much cash could I get in at its lowest. And then I'm just going to let it ride. That's what I'm looking to do. And if you, again, if you go back 2020, if you go back before that, if you go back to 2022, had you do that in October in 2022, you'd have been looking good. Fast forward, if you'd have did that in 2020, COVID, 2020, March 20th, if you just could have went in with anything and you'd have been good. Fast forward to that, before that, if you would have done it during the Great Depression, the Great Recession of 2008, which started in 2007 and was over in 2009. If you would have just bought it during that bottom, you would have been good. .com of the 90s, if you would have bought during that period, you would have been good. So it doesn't matter how far back you go. Every time something like this happens, you just have to be brave enough to run towards the fire and catch the falling baby, right? Hey, we are learning a lot with money moves. We are learning a lot with money moves. I'm even learning as I teach, right? I'm not a pro options trader, but I do know how to make money with options. And I am sharing step by step. I'm going to pin a comment myself with just the link of the money moves, okay? That's going to be the top link, and then the bottom link beneath that will be Stock Up You. I haven't forgot about you guys, Stock Up You. I got someone else doing an options class that I'm going to upload in Stock Up You probably by this summer, okay? And for those of you that hasn't looked in a while, I want you to go back and look at the crypto chapter in Stock Up You. But meanwhile, options for dummies, it's less than $1 a day, monthly. You pay monthly, get in when you want to, get out when you want to. That's going to be the top link, okay? And so I want to bring, it's not too late. Come in, check it out. Go to options for dummies, right? My theory is talk to me like I'm 3. Go to the very first video, still up, waiting on you, and then come learn with us. Because before next month is out, we're going to be earning money with options, right? All right, good people, we will see you tomorrow, mañana, okay? Love you guys, for real. I'm sorry I don't have an inspirational message for you today. I really do. I really do. You can't love God without loving his people. You can't love God without loving people. You can't pass people and love God. You know, they're celebrating the death of the Pope, and he was a people. He was known as the people's Pope. And I don't care how much you say you love God. If you don't love his people, you don't love him. That's the test. So just making your mouth, my uncle used to say, you can make your mouth say anything. But just saying you love God and not loving his people, regardless of who they voted for, regardless of their sex or race, male or female or race, regardless of how old or how young they are, if you don't love God's people, then you don't love God. You're just jawboning, okay? I love each and every one of you. I don't care what your past is. I love you, okay? Now, those of you, there's some, you know, when it comes to racist people, meaning hating any kind of, you know, race just because of their race, God gonna have to help me with that. I gotta pray for you. And if you treat children or senior citizens bad, I got a problem with you. All right. So God ain't through with me yet. He's still working on me with that. I need more grace in that area. But for the mass majority of you, I love you all. I don't even know why I got into that. Love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Live, love, laugh, and learn.